Okay, hello, welcome back to the Trademark Sports Podcast. New location because I forgot to charge my laptop, so here we are. Today we're going to talk about some teams that are just really, they're struggling at the moment. And then we're also going to talk about, again, another team that's struggling, and Dom Young's hit, basically. So you're going to talk about the Rabbitohs situation, how the Titans are going, the Eels without Mitch Moses, and Dom Young, and just other things that sort of came out of the weekend. We're going to run through my tips as well as answer some of your guys' questions. Again, adverse situation this week, so a quick podcast. But if you want to hear more of my thoughts and that sort of thing, I did jump on the Orange Pillars podcast throughout the week. It was released on Wednesday, so go check that one out. It's an hour and a half long, so plenty of trademark chat there if that is your flavour. So first off, the Gold Coast Titans, they just are awful, aren't they? I genuinely feel bad saying it and talking about it because Titans fans have been through so much just as a fan base, as a clerk of that club. And I'm just really confused why it's not working under Desi. His main thing when he goes to a new club is fixing up the defence, and their defence has been awful, worse than the comp. They leak so many points. At least on the weekend, they showed some sort of attacking threat and could actually score some points, which was nice for the Titans. Like there was a moment in that game where they actually were in it, which if you're a Titans fan hasn't really happened so far that much this season. So you're stoked if you are a Titans fan about that. However, the result still didn't go your way, which of course you're pretty fed up with, and they got a pretty tough draw coming up too. So I genuinely don't really know when the Titans going to win a game this season. I've actually tipped them this week, which we'll get into later. I'll talk about why, but yeah, it's really, really tough going as a Titans fan. No Tino definitely doesn't help. Like Kieran Foran went off again, like injured on the weekend. I'm not sure where you go for them. Like attacking wise, they offer nothing. Like even you saw it straight away from their first game of the season against the Dragons. There just was no attacking flair, no creativity. Yeah, I guess Jaden Campbell wasn't there or Fafita in that game, but it hasn't really improved all that much. It's like in that first trial against the Dolphins, they actually showed some ticker and some defensive nous and looked like they'd turn a corner. And then the first team played basically, and they've just absolutely none of that. We haven't even seen glimpses of that again. So, yeah, I don't really know what is next for the Titans. It's probably honestly better if they just had held on to Justin Holbrook at this point. But let's go. Talk of the town. The South Sydney Rabbitohs. What is Adam doing over there? Lots happening. Jason Demetrio is seemingly out the door, so you can nearly count on the Rabbitohs to win this weekend because they're just going to be happy that he's leaving. Latrell Mitchell. What was he thinking on the weekend? There's the bumper bars against Sean Johnson that just was a leading elbow and then tried to apologise for it. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's my opinion on it anyway. I guess you're defending yourself, but when has anyone ever gone to put up bumpers like this for those watching on YouTube and leading with elbow? It's just not how you do it. I get things go wrong, but for me that wasn't one of those cases. And then you sort of see that again with just the carelessness of his leg lift. It wasn't necessary. I understand you're frustrated and you're trying to make things happen and just things aren't going for you this season in the footy, but that was just appalling in my opinion, especially one of the highest paid players at that club who's meant to be leading from the front. It's just honestly not good enough. So what's the future for Jason Demetrio? I think it's very hard for him to avoid the sack. Because even if they win this weekend, it's the 5th win in 21 games or something ridiculous like that. So the record is definitely against him. And you don't like to see someone lose their job, but in saying that, South do have one of the strongest rosters in the comp, and there's no real excuse for their results. And it's a lot easier to sack a coach than 15 players. In saying that, a player who has been dropped this week, Damien Cook. Now, on one hand, I get it from Jason Demetrio. He's trying to set a precedent, and he's fighting for his job at the moment. And obviously, he doesn't think that Damien Cook has been playing up to standard, or he thinks Damien Cook could handle being dropped a lot better than some of those other players in that team. I think you could guess who I'm talking about there. But like, there's massive media beat up about it. People saying, like, Damien Cook coming out saying he's disappointed and angry. Of course he's going to be. Like, he is a player who really tries for that team. He's an NRL player. He's been told basically to sit in the, like, well, he has actually been told to sit on the sidelines. So, like, it's like, I don't know. If he wasn't angry and disappointed, then I'd be really concerned. Considering, like, it's something that he's worked his whole life for. And he's had a tougher road than most to get to the top and where he is. And he gets dropped. Of course he's going to be upset and disappointed by it. A lot of people going, why would you drop Cook out of all those people? Hey, Jason Dimitro's NRL coach. That's what his decision is. I understand it. Is Damien Cook the problem? Probably not. Will the Rabbitohs play better without Damien Cook there? Again, probably not. But hey, we have to wait and see. Let the footy do the talking. There's certainly other players there that I probably would drop or move positions. Again, I'm sure you can think about who I'm talking about there. But the other thing, and it ties into a question we're going to talk about a little bit later, and it's just what's going on with the coaching moving forward. Like, who do you bring in? Rumours about Wayne Bennett coming back to South. I personally don't think that happens. You've also got people talking about Mal Meninga going and coaching South. Dear Lord, if that happens, you're in trouble, South fans. Great Origin coach. I can't really imagine him coaching anyone other than the Raiders, even though he's working with the Titans at the moment. I can't picture it. Imagine Mal at the Rabbits. I reckon the South board's thought process is, oh well, he coached that Queensland team with all those massive egos and those massive players, so he'll be able to do that same thing with us. No, very, very different vibes. Origin camp to week football. Who else? There was someone else I saw name tossed up in discussion, but I don't know. Whoever, honestly, I think they should have just made Sam Burgess the head coach. But anyway, you just need someone who's going to be able to stand up and say, I'm the head coach. I make decisions here. If you don't like it, you can leave, because no player is bigger than the club. And that's just the thing at the end of the day. Like, look, Souths are a foundation club. No one's bigger than that. No single player is bigger than that. If you don't like it, there's the door. Next thing is Parramatta without Mitch Moses look pretty awful. They got pumped by the Raiders on the weekend, and I think, like, honestly, it's neither of the players' faults, but just Dylan Brown and Blaze Talangi are just super similar players. Like, I think when I was watching Blaze Talangi, like, in SG Ball and stuff, looking at his highlights and that, I was like, this bloke is a spitting image of Dylan Brown. Like, he plays the exact same way, and that sort of thing. So when you have those two players in the halves that are, like, offer the exact same thing, it just makes it hard for the rest of the team. Like, you've got two very run-first halves there, and it's just the whole attack's going to be clunky from that. So I understand the thought process of dropping Blaze Talangi, but bringing in Dejan Arce again, another very, very similar player, but we'll see how it goes. They've also got a very tough draw coming up to the Eels. So they've got the Cowboys, the Dolphins, and Manly before they have a bye in round 9. And then come back from that, and you've got Broncos, Storm, and then Rabbitohs in round 12, who could be better than, could have come good by then. And then they've got the Sharks after that. So that's leads you to round 14. So without Mitch Moses, who will be back by then, I think he's back by round 10. But even still, if they've lost 5 in a row, bringing Mitch Moses back in, it's a lot to ask for him to really turn that club around. I still think they will be fine, but again, Brad Arthur's another coach who's head on the chopping block, and Wayne Bennett apparently has been linked with that job as well. So Wayne Bennett, 75-year-old man, and he's still the hottest prospect in rugby league in the coaching scene, which tells you a lot about the NRL in terms of coaching depth. And then the last thing we'll talk about here, news-wise, is Dom Young's send-off, bro. Trent Robinson's comments definitely were in the heat of the moment and just in the spur of emotion, because there's no way you can look at that and think it's not a send-off. I fully understand what he was saying with Victor Radley's, because Victor Radley's incident was not a sin bin, and that's why he hasn't been suspended for it, because it was a ridiculous call from the referee and should never. Yeah, look, I don't know. It was very quick and very rash on the field, but Dom Young's, bro, he really could have done some serious damage to Blake Taaffe there, and now he's out obviously because it was a Category 1 concussion. And if he wasn't a first-time offender, he would have got 6 weeks for that. Just because Dom Young's got such a clean record and that this kind of thing's never really happened with him before is the only reason why he escaped a long-term suspension, because it was terrible. It was really bad. It was like Tane Milne on Spencer Leniu in the semi-final type stuff. Probably not quite as bad as like that Tane Milne one's the worst one I've seen. That was awful, but it's pretty up there. And I think he definitely deserved to be sent off and suspended. Anyway, let's move into my round 6 tips. So first off, we've got Knights versus the Roosters. Roosters obviously without Sam Walker and Tedesco, which makes that game a lot harder for the Roosters. Michael Jennings plays his 300th. Allegedly, there's also stuff to talk about around that, but I'm not going to, because look, he did some very bad things, and we'll leave it at that. If you're not gonna recognize his 300th, don't register his contract. That's my opinion on it. Okay, he can butcher 18th man with all these outs. Is crazy. It's tough because it's Newey and they always turn up. But the Roosters, even without those players, are still really good. I think Connor Watson does have a field day. I am going to go the Knights, but I do think it's going to be a very, very close game. Then we got Storm versus Dogs in Melbourne. The Dogs won this game last season. The Dogs don't win this game this season, I think. I think the Storm honestly make light work of it. Everyone's sort of starting to click there, starting to gel. They've got all their players back. Yeah, they're going to be good for the victory there, I think. Storm by a lot. And we got Broncos versus Dolphins. Now, Broncos, the ins this week. Reece Walsh is back. That's huge. However, no Adam Reynolds. Fletcher Baker's again starting, respectfully. Jaden Hunt in the second row, respectfully, again. That's pretty uninspiring. I think the Dolphins have been playing some really good football. Yes, I guess that Herbie Farmer's out, as well as Felice Kafusi, which doesn't help them either. But I can actually just really see the Dolphins winning this game. They haven't won a Brisbane derby yet, so I think they're going to really be up for this game. And yeah, I'm tipping a few upsets this weekend. I just got a feeling it's going to be one of those rounds, and the Dolphins winning will be the start of that, in my opinion. Then the second upset that I'm tipping here is, I think Manly go over to New Zealand and beat them, beat the Warriors. Warriors haven't been fantastic over there just yet so far this season. Like last week, I suppose, was their first dominant performance, but it was against a really struggling South side. However, in saying that, Manly have also been quite inconsistent. Be interesting to see if they can back up from the emotion of last week against the Panthers. Ben Trbojevic starts in the centres, which I guess you can look at as like a bit of a hindrance to their full-strength squad. But again, they lost Ruben Garrick quite early last week, so will it be that much of a... obviously, it's a massive loss. Ruben Garrick's a fantastic player, but will it affect their performance overall that much? I have to wait and see, but I can see Manly going over to New Zealand and getting a nice victory there. Then we go to Eels versus the Cowboys. Again, Eels, as we spoke about before, they've without Mitch Moses, they just look like a really completely different team. Cowboys are flying at the moment. I think they go down to Combank and give the Eels a good old-fashioned shellacking. Then we got South Sydney, 17th, versus the Sharks. The Sharks look pretty good to start the season, to be honest. Get Britton Nicola back as well, so they're going to be tough to beat. I think the Sharkies do beat the Rabbitohs there. Then we got the old merger derby, West Tigers versus the Dragons. I'm going to tip the Dragons, not confidently. I think they bounced back from last week. Again, another team that's been super inconsistent so far this season. The Tigers have been definitely competitive. This one, Dragons, this is one of those games that you identify as something that can really start a run for them. I know the Tigers are a lot better side than they have been, but no John Bateman. I guess it's one of those leaders you look to out in the field. As a Dragons fan, I just hope we win. That's all I've got for you. And then last game of the round, Raiders versus the Titans in Canberra. Raiders have been super good so far this season. You got your rookies like Ethan Strange really killing it, Xavier Savage really killing it, Danny Levi playing his career best football, like Morgan Smithy's coming over to Australia and really like sticking it to NRL teams, showing like what he's made of. The Titans, awful, can't buy a win, can barely hold onto the ball, nothing in attack, no Tino. Titans win. It's one of those things in rugby league. They're going to win at some point. I'm going to make a piece of content, which hopefully everyone here sees, about when do the Titans actually get a win. But I can just see it happening. I don't know what it is. I just have a feeling the Titans win this weekend. this is going to get clipped up when the Titans get 50 put on them, but I don't know. You got to believe, I guess. All right, let's get into your questions for this week. First off is from James.Bryant, and he said, what happens with South's coaching moving forward? You've sort of touched on this before, but there's also Ben Hornby there. I think if Jason Demetrio does get the sack, he'll probably come in as interim. If he does a really good job, they might keep him on. I don't really see who else is out on the market. There's Justin Holbrook, which is, I don't think they're going to bring him in. You also got Michael Maguire, who, again, he's just signed on as the Blues coach, which is a full-time job. Especially nowadays, Origin, I don't think you can coach a club and Origin at the same time, so I think you can scratch that off. Your other options really are Wayne Bennett at the end of the year. And yeah, you're going to have a first-time coach coming in, I think, which is quite concerning, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you could try and give Jason Riles a hell of a lot of money to go over. Maybe there's some coaches in England that you could have a look at that are quite good and successful over there. Other than that, I'm really not sure. And that's what the hard part is. We spoke about before, the fact that Wayne Bennett is so sought after really shows the lack of coaching quality and depth around in the NRL. So it's really a tough time to get rid of your coach. The ones, Anthony Griffin's out there too. The ones that were on the market were Hasler and Flanagan, and they got snapped up really quickly. So it is what it is, I guess. Then the next one is Travis_Eagleton has asked, who would be the Dragons' best starting 13 at the moment? I think fullback, it is Sloan still. I think on your wings, Zach Lomax, he's fantastic on the wing. Don't move him. Ravalawa, I don't know why there's talk of him being dropped. I think he just gets better and better every time I watch him. Centers, if you got Zach Lomax out there, you've got Sully and Bird. I honestly think we're pretty much playing our best 13 at the moment. The changes I would make are sort of in the 4-pack. So, and you'd have Flanagan and Hunt in the halves. Francis Mollo's been really, really good. I'm having him as one of my starting front rowers. Jack DeBellin, I think, is just a front rower through and through these days. He's my other starting front rower. Jacob Little at 9. And then second rowers, Luciano Leilua, when he plays good, yes. Jaden Sewer. And then I'd have Tom Eisenhuth at 13. He might be my favourite footballer at the moment. I love that man. He's actually so unbelievable at rugby league. He just does all the 1%ers. I can't express how much joy I get watching Tom Eisenhuth play football. Anyway, that's just me. Levi.evo1 has asked, who has the best chance of winning the comp? It's still Penrith Panthers. They're obviously still a team to beat. I know they've lost a couple of games already so far this season, which we haven't really seen from the Panthers in the last 3 or 4 years, but no Cleary doesn't help that. I think once he comes back and he's fit and firing and whatnot, the Panthers are definitely the team to beat. I reckon their biggest challenger though at the moment is the Warriors, which is crazy because I said they're going to lose this weekend, but I think the system they've got there, Andrew Webster, Penrith, they're really just improving every single week to week. I don't know. There's just something about this Warriors team, man. I'd love to see him win a comp. Next question is from Ollie_Pato, and he said, who should the Knights sign? It is quite interesting because you look at the Knights and you sort of think, where are the room? What's the room for improvement there? Because they've got quite a good squad. Their 4-pack is pretty nuts. I say that their 4-pack's nuts, but their depth probably leaves a little bit to be desired. So that's the kind of thing. Looking at those mid-range kind of forwards around the comp, I'm trying to think of a name I'd put to it, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not sure. Leave it with me. I guess as well, maybe an elite hooker, but in saying that, there's probably 3 in the comp at the moment. So those are few and far in between. I think their roster at the moment, honestly, is quite good. 5'8", that's what you need. But again, there's not an abundance of 5'8s getting around. I don't know who you go after, who you try and sign, especially with their cap, because it is quite restricted with the amount of re-signings they've had. So basically, to answer your question, you need a 5'8 or an elite hooker or a 4th front rower, but I'm not sure who. You guys leave a comment about who you think the Knights should sign. Help us out. And then last question for this week is from Mitch Burke 3.1, who has said, thoughts on the Eels Anzac jersey? If you haven't seen it so far, it got released today on the 10th of April. I love it. I think it's really, really nice. When I first saw it, I was like, ugh, but No, it's really, really nice. I think all the jerseys so far this season have just been ripper. Everyone's doing a really good job, so kudos to the jersey designers and the boards for approving good jerseys this season. Yeah, that's pretty much the thoughts there. I think Eels have done well with that jersey. I really like the sort of the dotted pattern coming through. I'd have to have a deeper look at it. Actually, I'll quickly go onto Para's Instagram, because I'll talk about what everything sort of means throughout it and who they're who it's a memorial for, and that sort of thing. So give us 2 seconds and I'll jump onto it. But yeah, it's like a deeper kind of blue as well. It's actually quite a nice jersey with the stripes along the front. HMAS, so it's a navy-based jersey. HMAS Parramatta badge. So we got wave pattern, central blue and gold wave pattern honours the sailors on board of the HMAS Parramatta 2 in the early hours of the 27th of November 1941 while escorting a convoy. Parramatta was hit by a torpedo. The torpedo caused the ship's magazine to explode, and the ship rolled rapidly to starboard and sank within minutes. Wow. So 138 gold dots represent those who lost their lives. 24 white dots represent the survivors. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Well done, Para. And then uniform stripe detail. Stripe detail pays homage to the Royal Australian Navy uniform of the 19th century through to today. The collar wraps over the shoulders, forming a rectangular shape on the back. Royal Navy uniforms were recognised the world over as belonging to the most powerful Navy afloat. You know what? That's super classy. I really like that jersey now, especially now once you know the deeper meaning behind these things. Love it. So, well done, Para. That is it for this week's episode. Again, sorry, a bit of a stuff around, but hey, we got it done, hey? Enjoy weekend's footy. Leave your tips in the comments. Hopefully your team wins unless you're a Tigers fan. Remember to Scotty, drink your water, and Bradman, do your best.